everyone, welcome to the next part of this page from Wonderful Wildflowers by Johanna Basford. It's very early-ish, not early, but quite early, so excuse my gravelly morning voice. We are doing this page, this is the third part, using the Pablo pencils, and we've got 3 more butterflies to do, and then sort of working on the background really. I'm hoping the background's going to be quite simple. I do have a few different ideas. We'll see how it pans out. It's going to be easy, so don't worry about the background. It's going to be straightforward, I think anyway. I don't want it to be hard. Now this butterfly here, I'm going to do next. Here it is. And I'm thinking about colours. I'm trying to get an even colours, different colours through. I think we need a blue one. I know this one here is sort of bluey green, but I'm thinking I'd quite like a sort of more proper blue one, if you know what I mean. So I'm just turning to my blue pencils. I think I'd do a variety of blues. I think it will look quite pretty. So I might just start actually with the body, thinking about it. That's where I usually start, isn't it? It does make sense to me anyway. So I'm just grab this grey. And I'm going to do the body in a similar way to how I've done the others. So going around the head, darker on the edge, lots of layers, less as you come in. I'm trying not to leave a little white dot, but I want it to be a bit lighter in the middle. It's quite difficult to see. It's quite a light colour, but I know I've tried. There we go, and that one. Now I was talking in yesterday's video about a TED talk that Charlie Mackesay had done. He is an illustrator, for those who don't know him, or of him. I don't know him. And my husband had talked to me about it and said, this should be really good for you to have a listen to. And I did. Now, not from my point of view, but for the sense of teaching point of view. And he was talking about how he had been working with some people, older people. This is Prussian blue. They had dementia, just to give you an idea of age, you know, usually comes in older age. I'm going to fade this to the tip, but the fact that they had that was irrelevant really to the story, in that when he first started saying to them, right, we're going to do some art, they're all like, but I'm rubbish, or I can't do it. Or, you know, I've been told I'm no good, I don't want to do it type thing. So he said to them, right, go back to when you were, before anybody told you that you weren't any good, when you were maybe, he said age 8, but for me it was younger than that. You know, age 3, 2, that sort of age, when nobody told you that you were good or bad, or, well, they all told you were good probably, hopefully. And imagine that, and just the freedom of just being able to do whatever you want and make a mess. And making a mess was his main sort of mantra of the story. That it's okay to make a mess. You know, it can be a lot of fun. My sharpness closed itself. There we go. And so he said, start there. So what he told them they had to do, this is sapphire blue. It won't focus. There we go. I'm going to do this long strip here first. I'm not sure what I'm doing with the whole thing yet. It's just developing it. My hand's doing the work. I'm talking, letting my hand do it. What he said was, the very first picture I want you to do, I just want you to do whatever you want on it and then throw it away. So nobody needs to look at it. No one judges it. And just enjoy the process of making a mess on the piece of paper. And for me, that was quite interesting. And I was thinking about it from a colouring perspective. You know, you can buy downloads. I mean, you can get free downloads, sorry. You can buy them as well. So you can print it off as many times as you like. So you could, if you're really nervous, you could do that. You could just make a big mess, chuck it away, not tell anybody. No, I'm not. I'm going to leave that. I'm going to do a lighter colour at the top and then do this one in a minute. I'm trying to do it all at once and that's not working in my head. So I'm going to use a lighter blue. I'm going with the gentian, I don't know how to say that word at all. Gentian, gentian blue. It doesn't want to focus. I don't know what's going on with the camera today. Never mind. And fill that in. Again, I'm going to put more layers here and less towards the tip. Excuse me. So I thought that was an interesting idea. Now I realise this is a fairly new book. And there are a lot of people who will be scared to start it because they are scared of ruining it. They think it's too perfect and too nice. And where do you start and how do you do it? And I thought, well, there are a couple of ways. Now, I do think that I suspect that Johanna is going to have some free downloads to go alongside her book launch. So you could start there, print them off, just mess around with them. You know, that's one start. But she may not do that. The book launch probably would have happened by the time this video goes out, so you'll know. Sorry, I don't know, because you know, when recording in advance, it can be a little bit tricky. So another way to go is to go into the back of the book on the colour pencil or the test page. I can't remember what it's called, in the back, and just there's a small image on the back there. I coloured mine in already down here. Look, that. Do that one. Colour palette test page, that's what it's called. Or this one. Start there. Because it's right at the back. Oh, where's my butterfly gone? He's flown off. Start there. That's where I started. And then you're not doing a big picture. That's a part of another page. So you can practice on that one. If you like it, you can go to that page and do it. You know, there's that. You can practice your colour combinations on the back there. So, oh, I'm not sure if I want to do red and orange or red and yellow. How's it going to work together? Go in the back there, try it out. That sort of thing. Boost your confidence a little bit by just playing around. I'm going to do a stripy bit down here. I don't know how old it's going to look, but that's how it's drawn. So I'm just going to go with it. So the bluish grey I'm going to use for one of the stripes. Or two of the stripes, sorry. Again, it doesn't want to be in focus. Bluish grey at all, anywhere. Yeah, so that was interesting. And what he said was that this group of people who were absolutely petrified of doing any sort of art, they hadn't done it since they were children, they'd been told they were rubbish, etc. They had an exhibition, and some of the pieces are actually hanging in galleries now. Now this wasn't colouring, this was, you know, creative, not the colouring isn't creative, the wrong word came out. It was starting from scratch art, so blank sheet of paper. That's much more scary than a colouring book. You know, colouring, you've got some of the work has been done for you, so you can just get going, you know. And I know people think, well, if I mess it up, I won't want to open the book again. I think this is where we have to come in with some forgiveness and some self-love. And, you know, we all make mistakes. I mean, look at that. That's not perfect. You know, it should be going from dark to light. A perfect gradient where you can't see any pencil lines or marks. It's not, is it? It's real. It's done by a human, you know. We can't compare ourselves to, you know, the perfect gradient could be done on a computer. Use your Photoshop, you get it dead on. But it's nice to have a little human element, a bit of a mistake. There's a mistake in this page that Johanna's made. Down here, look. See this stem here? This leaf cuts through that stem and it actually doesn't go all the way through. There's a gap here and here. That should be drawn in. That's a mistake. But who cares? You know, it's fine. It shows that the work has been done by a human being, not by a computer. And I think it shows something about your personality and, you know, and it just makes it human. So there's something I like about, you know, this is a pastel blue. So there's a particular artist, I'm trying to think who it is. I think it's Van Gogh, and this colour looks nothing like I expected it to look. How odd. Never mind. and there's a picture, it's a picture of a bedroom with a chair in and a bed, and the proportions, the perspective, I mean, is completely wrong. And my thought is, did he just mess up? And because he's so famous, people just bought it anyway? Or did he make it wrong on purpose? Or could he not do it, so he thought, I'll pretend it was on purpose? We don't know. Nobody knows. But I find that fascinating, that here's the grey, that it takes a certain amount of confidence, even if it was intentionally odd looking, to produce a piece of work like that. And that's the sort of confidence that we need to somehow get ourselves. Right, this little butterfly here, I'm going to do him in green. I know it's odd. I love a green butterfly. I don't see them, but I love colouring them. So that's what I'm going to do. And I think it's going to balance out, because we've got so much green in the bottom of the picture that I think it's going to balance some of the greens. But I'm going to do him in him. Yes, yeah, it's a him. Him. I don't know why. In olivey type greens. For the body, rather than doing a cold grey, I have done some brown bodies. This one's going to be brown as well. I'm just looking at my browns. Oh, my swatch star's got covered over with a cable. It's the joys of recording. There's like cables, cameras, tripods, remote controls, lamps, lights, as well as all the colouring paraphernalia. It's a great, lovely desk. So tidy. This is bistre. Now, let's go like that. Yeah, so you can just about see the centre of head's a bit lighter. Yeah, so that TED Talk is available on YouTube. TED Talks has a channel. So I can't remember how long it was, 10, 20 minutes, it wasn't long. And he's a really interesting chap. He always sounds extremely nervous, but not in a cringy way, just in a like slightly reluctant to feel that he's worthy, I think. Very modest chap, amazing. I love his style of art, but one of his books, there's a huge messy page and it's fabulous. I'm just looking for the right olive. I am going for the, is that just the olive? Yeah, just going to go for the olive. Exciting name, olive. Yeah, the fox, the horse, the mole, horse, fox, boy. Can't remember the order of the names. One day I will. That book here, if you want a link to it, I can put it in the description and I'll get the name right. There's a page where there's a coffee cup ring, and he said when he was making this page, he put his cup down on the paper, spilled coffee on it or something, but it was left in the book. And I think, I don't know whether he did do that or whether it was purposeful addition to the book because he was trying to make a point about things not being perfect, things being messy. It's an amazing book. It's so emotional. It makes you feel, it makes you tear up, you know, but it's lovely. There's nothing sad about it. It just makes you think about things, you know. I am going to use a lighter colour on the outside part, which is rare for me because normally, like this butterfly here, I use the darker colour here, but I think this needs something a little bit lighter. I'm going to go for the light olive, if I can find it. I've used the light olive already, so let's use a slightly different one. Let's use the olive yellow. I'm trying to mix up the colours a bit, use some different ones. So here is our olive yellow. Hard to read, even harder for me. I've got grid lines on my screen. It's just to help me make sure my book is straight. I'm not very good at doing that anyway, at remembering to check. I'm probably not going to fade this. I'm probably just going to put it down quite thickly. Two reasons. One, it's a light colour, so if I fade it, it might just look like there's nothing there. And two, when I do my background in a minute, if I get any of my sky coloured pastel on top of it, it'll go blue, so, or a different shade of green. If I put this down thickly, it will resist the pastel. A thick pencil can resist it, so I'm just layering it a bit more. If it doesn't resist it, I'm not going to worry, it's not going to be the end of the world. Okay, oh, I like him. It's very unusual, it's very rare, very rare. Now this one I'm going to do in pinks, because I've tried to balance it. So we've got red toadstools and a red butterfly, orange flower. Can you hear banging? Orange flowers, orange butterfly, blue and blue, purple and purple, that sort of thing. We haven't got any pink, so we're going to put pink on here. I might use different shades of pink to the pinks of the flowers. Because that pink, it's quite like the purples, isn't it? Okay, let's actually do the body first. Let's grab a grey. Oops, just got the piece of paper that was under the page out. I've been moving them around because I've been colouring a different page in between making videos. It's very, I get myself very confused when I do that. This is the steel grey, and that's our body. We're going to do that first. So around that head we go, lightening towards the middle. Again, we're getting quite a light colour here, so it's harder to see. There we go. So I'm trying to make it a little bit lighter towards the middle. You could use a darker colour around the edges and things if you want to. I'm not going to now, but once I've done the rest I might decide I want to, but it's unlikely. Now let's grab that pink that we used before. Was it just the plain pink? I haven't got it written down. And I've got the piece of paper next door where I was editing. I think it was. I'm just grabbing the pink, giving it a sharpen. Here it is, pink. I'm going to start with this one. I'm going to do this bit around here. I'll show you. So near here, put it quite intensely here. Yeah, it's definitely the right colour. Unless as we get to the edge. Yeah, I always think of each picture as a learning process, and if it goes wrong, then I've learnt something. And that helps me with my confidence in getting started with the page. I also try and do pages that I really like, but if I've got a really, really favourite page and I'm a little bit worried about doing it, I tend to settle in with doing some other pages in the book first, particularly if it's a new illustrator that I haven't done before, so I get used to their style. And it also gives me time to think about that other page and what I'm going to do with it. Another thing I do is with my favourite page, I use my favourite pencils. I'm going to also use the pink down here. So the ones I'm most confident with, usually. So then I've got a better chance of making it look really good. So there's another little thing that I do. Yeah, so spend a bit of time thinking about it, pick your favourite tools, and also say there's a butterfly on the page, let's say, and you've got an idea for it, but you're not sure if it's going to work. Find a different page with the butterfly on and that you're not so keen on, that you don't mind if you mess up so much, and experiment with that one. In World of Flowers I did that. There was a page with just loads of different flowers, a bit like there are in this book at times, and I wasn't too keen on the page, to be honest. I mean, just being honest, there are pages we don't like as much as others. I'm going to use the light purple next, and so I experimented on that page and used lots of different pencils and pens, even light purple. I coloured some flowers in Posca. It looked horrible. So my completed book has this really horrific page where I just hate. But I mean, hate is such a strong word. I like some of it, but not all of it. And as a combination, it's just a big, horrible mishmash. But I learnt a lot. And it's just part of my growth, and I still enjoyed it, you know. And so every time I wanted to experiment with something, I'm just going to finish this bit and check my phone. Every time I wanted to experiment with something or other, it's just Instagram. Yeah, every time I wanted to experiment with a different flower technique, I would turn to that page and have a little go. So it almost is the story of the book. Do you know what I mean? So if you do a page and you mess it up, I put that in quotes because I don't believe any page is messed up. I believe they're just experiments and growth. This is the purple. Use it as an experimental page. See it as a practice page. Try to, you know, think of it as a story as to your improvement, you know. It's very difficult. I'm not saying it's easy. It isn't. But we have to remember that why are we colouring? I think that's a really important thing to remember. Are we colouring so that we can get the most amazing pictures that will be shared on Johanna's website, that everyone will praise us on, that will be framed and put on the wall of the Tate Gallery or the Louvre? No. I don't think any of us are. It would be nice. I mean, we know that because we're colouring, our work's never going to appear in a gallery because it can't. But we can put it on Johanna's gallery on her website, and she puts up everything. So we can get into a gallery, but just an online one. And we can also post onto Facebook groups. But most of us aren't colouring for that. Most of us are colouring for relaxation, for fun, because we love it. And it's really important to remember that that is what we're doing. Now, purplish red, you know, that it isn't about perfection. Nothing in life should ever be about perfection. It doesn't exist. Purplish red, there's always an improvement. There's always someone better, something better, you know. And it should be about having fun, growing and learning. Now, when I finish this colour, I'm going to change colours from this sort of pink to something else. I think there's enough pink. Once I've done this and these circles, like this edge bit and the edge, I don't think I want those to be pink. I might do the stripy bits in pink, but these edges, I feel like I want a different colour. It's a bit too pink. Darcy. I had a very interesting question on my socials this morning. I posted a picture that I'd done. It wasn't a video, I'd just done it on my own. And the person said to me, can you talk us through what inspired you for this picture, how you got your idea? This is pink, why you did it that way. It was a really, really interesting question. And because it was a picture I did quite recently, I vividly remember what inspired me and how I did it. So that was good. And I try to tell you this when I'm making videos as well, to sort of help you get inside my head. I mean, it's a scary place to be. You don't want to stay there long. But just so that it can help you. I mean, inspiration for colours and styles, it's so random. I think sometimes I see things and I don't even notice that I've seen them and they inspire me. Do you know what I mean? So I'm going to go with the purple violet. It's a lot darker, but it isn't sillily different. And we're going to do all the rest with this, and just a nice dark, confident stroke of colour, all layered up actually to make it dark, so it really looks darker than everything else. yeah, I try to, but I think with the butterflies, for example, I did, before I started this page, I did go onto my search engine and look up British butterflies, because I thought maybe I'll do some colours that are typical of British butterflies. Most of them were orange and brown, and I was like, Now the butterflies I tend to see around are usually blue and brown. See the common, is it meadow blue or meadow brown? I can't remember. And common, I think it's meadow brown and common blue. I see the orange tip a lot, which is white. I see loads and loads and loads of white butterflies. I don't want to do white. I'm scared of white, and I'm not afraid to admit it to myself as well as you, you know. Like yellow, white and yellow, they're my nemesis colours. Right, we are going to come out and we're going to have a look at doing our background. Now, you don't have to do one. If the whole idea of a background scares you, you think you might ruin your whole picture by doing one, then don't do one. There's no, it looks fine without one. I just feel that I need to show you something else, you know, a little bit extra. Now, these are my Mungyo soft pastels that I'm grabbing here. You could do this, you could use distress ink, you could use pencil. Pencils are tricky. Now I have a dilemma here, because do we do a little bit of ground here, or do we just do sky? I'm not sure. I think I'm just going to do sky, and I think I'm going to use my sky stencil. Whoops, if I can find it in packets of stencils. So this is my cloud stencil. Really hard for you to see it. Now you can make these yourself if you are any good at cutting or drawing. I'm not. Let me just put that under there so you can see it. So you can see you've got the cloud shape on the stencil. Now this particular one I can give you the link to in the description, I will do, but you can use any. You don't have to use this specific one. I'm going to get a cotton cloth like this. You see it's already got blue, blue all over it, so but I'm going to fold it. I'm just reusing it a bit. I do wash them, but I also sort of... Now, my next dilemma is that I've got lots of colour, and when I do if I put some blue here, it's going to go all over these leaves. It's going to change their colour. But I'm just going to risk it and go for it. But I'm going to use a fairly light blue. We have a few blues here, you can see. This really light blue just doesn't show up, so I'm not going to use that. This one is more like a sort of turquoise, so I'm going to probably use this one, which is the next lightest one. It's fairly dark, but if I just put it on quite lightly, it doesn't show up too much. The more you put on your little cloth, the more it's darker it's going to be. But I'm just going to do a little bit like that, and now we have a cloud. Now it always looks a bit rubbish until I've done a few and then brushed it off. So and I'm doing some in this direction. I'm going to try to avoid the butterfly. I can't avoid the leaves, there's too many of them. There's too, I would never suggest trying to painstakingly go around stuff. It's too difficult. But maybe just like that. I'm just going to do a bit here. I tend to sort of do them at angles. Some people do them always at the same angle. I wouldn't think that I would be capable of always keeping them in the same angle, so I tend not to try. I tend to sort of mix it around a bit. Now we've got to try and go around the flowers a bit like that. You can take your blue up as high as you like from the edge of the stencil. I tend not to go too far up, but it's up to you. Trying to avoid that pink. It's a bit tricky, but I'm just going to keep going down. Now I don't know how much of this you can see because I'm quite far out, of course. It's quite, my lights make my paper look very grey. It's very confusing when the paper is white, But I've tried to set up the camera so that it understands that it's, I'm going to put a little bit down there, that I've got, that it's white, but it doesn't seem to notice. Right, I'm going to brush that off and just have a look at it. There isn't much on there really. I think I might do a bit more. It's quite faint as well, but I'm sort of happy with it being faint. I'm going to put a little bit more in there. Put a little bit more in there. Now what you can do when you're doing clouds is you can change the colour a bit. Do different shades of blue, of course, but you could also do some grey, some blue. I've seen people do like a rainbow going from pink, orange, yellow, that sort of thing. Not a proper rainbow, you know, sort of different colours. There's all sorts of options for you, whatever you want. I'm trying not to go outside of the square border. I'm done now. I'm happy with what I've done. It's very faint, as I said before. But we're going to get a white pen out. I'm going to do a few little details before I finish. But I am just going to put my pastels away so that I don't knock them all over the floor, which is something I've done before. Once bitten, twice shy with that one. Absolutely. Let's put the stencil away as well. Let's tidy the desk a little bit. There we go. And you can buy the stencils. I'll put the link in the description. From Amazon, probably from many other places too. Okay, we have a white jelly roll here. It's the number 10, and I'm going to put on some white dots. Now I'm going to start on the butterflies. I like to put quite a few on butterflies, usually on the sort of edges. I try and make them symmetrical. You can obviously do as many or as few as you wish. There we go. I usually put them on the darkest bits so they just show up. Like, there's no point in me putting it on top of any of this orange. It just won't show. And I realise I got my hand plonked right down into the pastel. That isn't ideal, but it's quite a thin layer. So hopefully, whoops. Now I don't know why I always do dots when I don't think butterflies have dots or spots. Well, they do, but not like this. But anyway, it works for me. And it's quite fun just dotting away merrily. This always feels quite childish to me in a fun, relaxing type way. And considering it's pen, which I'm absolutely petrified of, wow, not so much anymore, getting better. It's quite an interesting thing. Now I've just messed that one up, so it's not symmetrical, but never mind. I'm going to pretend that it is. Or our butterfly's got a bit of a weird mutation. There we go, and this one is one there, there, and there. Okay, I think that's that one done. I don't know how much you can see because I'm so far away, but you can just do your own thing if you're confident enough. I'm sure you are. You can do it. And you've probably had a go before. And it's interesting because I've seen so many of you sharing pictures that you've done following my videos, and it's so lovely. And some of you, a lot of you, put your own style into it or a few of your own ideas, and I love that. It's just shows you, hopefully, that you can do it, that you can have a bit of guidance and then go off and do something that is in your own style. And I think that's great. I mean, I don't mind at all if you completely copy. I do that myself. When I watch a Chris Cheng video, I completely copy and learn. You know, I don't mind that at all. Now the flowers, what are we going to do with dots around our flowers? You see, I think these need some, but none of the others. See, these have got little dots, the blue ones have got little dots coming out of the top of them, but I don't want to put white on top because it'll just erase it, so I'm going to leave that black. I really want to put some here, so I'm going to do what I want to do, which is to put some around here. Whoops. But I don't know if I want to put anything on the others. I don't think it'll really show up on the orange ones, for example. I don't think the pink ones need it. I might put a little bit on our toadstools, because although I showed you how to do it in pencil, I'm just going to do it in pen. Now, I'm leaving the line on the right and left, the edge of the toadstool, just whiting the black line at the top. I'm also leaving the line at the bottom. There we go. Now the dots coming out of the blue ones, although they won't look any good in white, because as I say, they'll just vanish, you could do them in like to glitter, a glittery green. Probably blue might be better. Don't know what my mouth's saying. It's not what my brain's thinking. I'm thinking a glittery blue or a metallic blue, something like that. I'm trying to think whether I want to do any more. I really don't want to do any more dots. I'm just going to leave it like that. Let me just take that piece of paper out from the back. So there it is. Little bit of blue sky, quite delicate. I was actually aiming to make it a little bit darker than that, but I'm okay with it just being a few delicate little cloudy splodges. You could, I mean, my other idea, I'll tell you what it was so that you can think, was to put a little bit of green along there and then the rest in blue, but not necessarily using the cloud stencil, just putting it all blue. And then I thought it'd be a bit overpowering, so I thought maybe I could do a little bit of green and then some just blue splodges rather than using the stencil, which you could do if you don't have a stencil, just a few blue splodges here and there. But in the end I decided that I wouldn't be able to get a straight line down here because I'm not very good at doing it straight, and it might just look really weird. I also didn't want to put anything near these toadstools because I thought I would get blue or green in the white. I know I've just gone over them with pen, so maybe it didn't matter, but that was my thinking at the time. So there we are. There is the finished page. Yeah, I'm pleased with it. I quite like the fact that we've made a little scene out of it because we don't have many of those in this book. I think there's one. This was almost one, but there's another one with trees and things which I really like. I don't know when I'll be doing that one, but I've already decided on my next page. It's not that one. So there we go. But thank you for watching. Yeah, I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. I hope you're enjoying your new books. And yeah, thank you so much and happy colouring.